Hi, I'm Rick with PLP Battery Supply, and today I want to go over something fairly simple, but seems to be some issues with people understanding how it's supposed to work and what you can get out of it. And that is testing a battery specifically with a hydrometer. This is becoming sort of a lost art because there's so many batteries now that you can't get into. There's AGMs and sealed batteries and so many that you just can't take the caps off and have access to the electrolyte. But it's still something you need to know how to do specifically for golf cart batteries, industrial batteries. It's still something that rears its head in those applications. So we're just going to show you real quickly how it's supposed to work, how you should do it, the kind of tricks and traps. So I'm going to pop the caps off this little guy here. This is just a standard old, actually it's a Group 45 out of a Honda for anybody that wants to know. The kind of hydrometer we prefer is this type here. This specific one is from Easy Red. It uses a float that has a pointer on it that points to the specific gravity of the electrolyte that it's testing. So when you're testing, you want to go deep enough down in the cell without actually, poking into the separators and doing any damage. But you want to get in there deep enough that you can draw fluid out. You want to get enough fluid, like in this case, we've got the thing pretty full, the little float area there. So the float doesn't have any, the electrolyte or the fluid is up plenty so that the float has freedom to float all the way to the top. Another thing you want to do typically is you want to tap this thing and get any air bubbles that might be clinging to the float off of it, because that can give you a false reading. So if there's any air bubbles or anything stuck to the float, it can read higher than it should. In this case, this thing's reading between 1250 and 1265. In essence, it's showing that this battery is fully charged. Now the difference between, and this is something that's important, when you're checking the electrolyte in a battery, the difference between what this thing is showing you and whether the battery is good or bad are really sort of unrelated. This tells you whether this electrolyte and this battery is fully charged. That doesn't mean the battery's good. This battery could have a bad cell in it, could have a shorted cell, it could have a variety of issues, but at least we know it's fully charged. And the benefit of that is that when we know it's fully charged, then we can test it. We can put a load test on it and we can check and see if this battery is capable of putting out everything it's supposed to. The other thing that we're doing as we go along here is we're checking to see if all of these cells, get rid of the bubbles, if all these cells are similar in specific gravity. In this case, every one is showing us so far that they're all about the same. They're all between 1250 and 1265, which is again showing that they're fully charged and they're all equivalent with each other, which is what we're after. If you have a cell that is more than 50 points off the others, and it'll read low, then what that's telling you is that cell is not fully charged. And the reason it's probably not fully charged is because there might be a short in that cell. It could have a separator that's failed and the negative and positive plates have touched somewhere, or maybe the formation of dendrites has caused a short in the cell. But this one is a little bit low, but it's not low enough to fail it. It's between, this one here is just below 1250. So we don't have more than a 50-point spread, even though we have one that's a little bit low. And I'll give you a heads up on this one because I checked it earlier. This particular battery, there's nothing wrong with it other than it's old and wore out. So all of these cells are reading fairly equally, which is good. There's no mechanical failure within the cells. There's no shorts between the plates or anything like that. Also, we know that there's no holes in the battery because all all the cells are holding electrolyte. If you have a battery that has a really low volume of electrolyte in it, like a motorcycle battery, you can use a little tester like this one. This is also an Easy Red product, but you can get these from a variety of manufacturers. It takes very little electrolyte to float these balls, and what you're looking for with this thing is, again, the same. Again, you want to tap it, make sure you get all the bubbles off of it, and you're looking to see how many of these little balls it floats. In this case, it's showing us 3 balls floating pretty consistently, and all we really care about, again, is that they're all the same. So as long as it's showing us the same reading all the way across, then that's all we care about. If they're all reading low, then what that tells us is we need to put this battery on the charger to charge it up before we do any further testing. There's a lot of testers out there that try to determine whether a battery is charged or discharged. A lot of electronic testers that attempt to do that. Some of them they do a decent enough job of it, some don't. I'm of the opinion, this is my personal opinion, 45 years in the battery business, that the best way to tell if a battery is charged up is to check the electrolyte, and then if it's not fully charged, charge it, and then test it. This particular battery, the next step in testing is going to be to check it with a voltmeter, and it is showing us, in fact, that it's got 12.5 volts, and it's fully charged. So that's all there is to it as far as testing a battery with a hydrometer. I'm going to hit the high points again for you real quick. It is draw the fluid into the hydrometer, make sure that the bulb is full, that you're not just getting half the float in the electrolyte. It's a good idea to tap it, whether you've got something with a plastic float like this, or whether you've got like a glass hydrometer, a scientific type hydrometer, or anything else. Make sure that there's no air bubbles clinging to the float. And then you're looking for readings that are consistent. And if you have 1 or 2 that are low, then that's a battery that you can fail without doing anything else. It's never going to charge properly. The one thing that you might have to do, I'll point this out. When you have a battery that you bring in for a hydrometer test, if the electrolyte is so low that you can't draw enough fluid out of it, then you need to add water to that battery anyway before you do anything. So it'll be add water, and then you want to charge it. You don't want to add water to it and then check it with a hydrometer, because all you're going to do is read the water. So put some water in it, bring it up to the proper level, charge it, and then check it with the hydrometer. If you have any questions about any of this, you can contact us at PLP Battery Supply, and thanks for watching.